Good morning and welcome to the Red Ned Show, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. I am your host, Jay Edgar, and I'm joined once again on the other side of the screen by the lovely Katie Zed. Katie, unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you're feeling today.
I'm doing well. It's good to be here.
Good to be back.
Katie. Yeah, good to be back. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm Katie. I am a wife and a property manager from North Georgia, and I love to talk to Ed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much for coming in on short notice because, like I said, a week ago, I thought that there was going to be no Red Net Show today because I thought I was going to be sitting in the courthouse down in Rock County explaining to a prosecutor how I feel about jury nullification.
Works every time.
Yeah, they sent me an email last Wednesday saying, oh, well, we're not going to get to your number this week, so, well, we'll talk to you in 4 years, I guess.
They Googled you.
That could be. That's actually a distinct possibility. I mean, if I was a prosecutor and I got a list of potential jurors, I would be Googling every goddamn last one of them myself.
Yep.
So it's a distinct possibility that that's what happened, and they found out how I feel, and they're like, yeah, no, we don't want this guy sitting on a jury. We'll find out in 4 years. I know Ron Helton, he said that he talked about jury nullification once when he got called for jury duty, and he never heard from him again, and that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, coming from Ron Helton, that doesn't surprise me that he's talked about jury nullification. That seems like the kind of thing that he would do.
Absolutely.
But speaking of jury nullification, we have got a lot of stuff to get to today, and a lot of it has to do with crime in both your home state and mine. I know you've talked about we could possibly be talking about the Crystal Kaiser case. I don't know anything about this except for the fact that it has triggered every libertarian on Twitter right now saying to free her. And it's fun to troll people in live chats with. It's definitely fun to do that. But
You've done that to me a few times this week.
I have. I'm very good at it. On paper, it looks like it would be a good kind of free Crystal Kaiser kind of thing, but, well, there's details there, and we all know Binger can twist anything to be however the hell he wants it to be, but we also know that Twitter can twist it however we want it to be too, so you may educate me on some of that here. But on the big news this week, we will be talking a bit about what happened in Waukesha now that some of the details are coming out, now that the dust is settled, because when we talked to Seawall last week, it was just live happening. 4chan barely knew the name of the guy and his criminal history by that point, but now we've had a week to talk about it, what happened with their, some of the details, some of the people that passed away, so we'll talk just about that. And we're also going to take some time and talk about Rittenhouse was on Tucker and some of the aftermath from the Rittenhouse case, and especially coming up with him talking about Lynn Wood and me getting to take a victory lap about Lynn Wood.
Yeah, never liked that guy.
A lot of people did on the conservative side, so that was the crazy part of it. In other news, we'll be talking a bit about what happened in your home state this week because the verdict was delivered in the Ahmaud Arbery case. He is guilty, so we'll be talking just a bit about what happened there, some of the details that went on to there that may or may not have affected the outcome of the case. So we'll talk just a bit about what's going on there and whether or not we think that the verdict was right or wrong. Thanksgiving was this past week, and with the way that our government works right now, we can't go a week without hearing about the government's interference and stuff, so we'll be talking a bit about some of the celebrations that we had, and I'll give a shout out to... What's that?
Soy turkey.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking a bit about the celebration our friend Steven had that we both tried to call into, and I failed calling into, of course. Because of equipment failures off of that, but also the rising cost of supplies, NBC telling us how to save money on Thanksgiving, and an interesting story out of Southern California where the power was actually cut off for about 200,000 people in Southern California for the holiday. And of course, we can't finish a show without talking about the Omicron variant. That is not the Omicron Persei variant, although I now have an excuse to go back and watch Futurama again. But we'll be talking just a bit about the new panic off of this. Fauci was on NBC. Pat Burke introduced a bill to allow insurance companies to deny people, which kind of flies in the face of healthcare for all. And Biden has asked the courts to lift a stay. Plus, I've got a special surprise stupidity because, well, you'll have to see what's at the end of there. But I laughed when I read about it. You actually might know about this one, but I definitely laughed when I heard about it. And I think everybody else...
I haven't been online too much this week because I've had family stuff going on, so you might actually surprise me this time.
Yeah, this one did come straight from Contemporary, so it was on there. But we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see if you're surprised or not. It is going to be all this and more over on the Red Ned Show. Thank you for checking us out over on DLive, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and my Facebook page. Thanks for checking us out on all those platforms. And if you can't catch us live, you want to catch us back on demand, you can catch us back over on YouTube or BitChute.com. You can check us out on both of those platforms. You can take us on the go on the audio platforms, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. You can catch us on all of those separate platforms as well. And while you're at it, make sure you go check out TurnsandPagesProductions.com. We are currently disabling the fundraiser for TurnsandPagesProductions.com because of differences in opinion with GoFundMe, but do keep in mind and pay attention to the page because there will soon be a new fundraiser coming up for that hopefully won't be as grabbled as GoFundMe, so go and check that out. I'd love to have a little bit of help coming back on there. I will be accepting the GoFundMe money. I had to wrestle with that a little bit morally, but I've decided that people went into GoFundMe with the express intention of using GoFundMe services and accepting the terms of their grabbledness, so I can take their money. So
send cash in an envelope, everybody. Just put cash in an envelope, send it right to Ed.
Yeah, that would actually possibly help too, but it is going to be all this and more. We've got to get started. We've got to get right into it. So let's kill out the intro music here, and I think it's time for us to get started. So I don't know, you've been here before, you know the lightning round. We just kind of take a couple minutes and talk about some of the news stories that didn't quite fit into the main stories here. But before we did that, I actually wanted to talk just because I know you wanted to talk a bit about this here. I wanted to talk about the stream that I did over the weekend, which was an interesting one for me. I took the political compass test on air, and then I also took the 8 values access test, which that was the first time. I had taken the political compass test before, but I had not taken the 8 values test before. On the political compass test this time through, I actually moved a lot closer to the center than I'm a little comfortable with here. The last time I took this, I was 3 ticks in from the right and 2 ticks up from the bottom. As of now, I've come in considerably up from the libertarian side, which that's what makes me the most uncomfortable. But I've also come in towards the center a little bit. That doesn't make me as uncomfortable, coming in from the center a little bit. But definitely a change, a shift. And I do think that, and I've thought about this a little bit, because the last time I did this was on Generational Gap, and I think Rob was kind of leading me into some of these answers and trying to push me a little bit. This was all me and all thinking about this from myself. Me and the live chat, that's all that we did. As far as the 8 values test, I'm very proud of this one. According to them, I'm an ultra-capitalist. So throw on the Ferengi ears and ridge my nose and let me die and go to the golden treasury. 83.3% towards markets over equality. 61.7% towards patriotic. I'm actually quite liberal on the on their scale for liberty versus authority, which I'm kind of excited about that too, because I'm not a real big fan of authority. Mm-hmm. And I am shifted more towards tradition, but only slightly over progress. Did you?
I did not have a chance to take this test. I actually forgot. I was a little drunk when I was watching your stream when I said I would do it. But I think that I'm going to, when I do this the values test, I think I'm going to be more patriotic and more traditional than you are. Because in general, I am patriotic. You know, I'm a little bit older, so I think the older you are, the more patriotic you are. I grew up in a very patriotic household.
So, well, I guess we'll have to see where all that goes. So you feel free to post that in the Discord if you want, because I know Arvolt did his, and he is definitely a damn dirty centrist.
I had no doubt.
He was very proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into the lightning round here. Let's talk a bit about what's going on throughout the week here. Let's get that up on the screen for you guys. Oh, and we will be taking live chat in between topics too. So go ahead and get into the live chat if you've got any questions or comments. We will be definitely looking for questions above everything else. So go and check that out, but we will go back and look at that. All right.
Starting says he's got cookies there in the center, so maybe I'll head more that way. I do like cookies.
Cookies are good. I miss cookies. That's one of the things I miss being on a keto diet is I miss cookies.
Yeah, you need to find some keto cookies.
Yeah, that's the worst thing about keto cookies is Like, there's a Duncan Hines cup dessert that's supposed to be keto friendly. It says keto on the front of it. I looked on the back, and one serving is the whole cup, obviously. And it's 34 carbs. That's not keto. Keto is you're supposed to be saying under 20 a day.
I don't know anything about carbs. You're supposed to be saying under 20. Yeah, you're supposed to be saying...
You
just have to eat it right at midnight. So half of the carbs are on one day and half of the carbs are on another day.
Yeah, so that's the worst part of marketing. All right, let's start talking about our good representative from over in my neighboring state of Michigan. But that's what the X says. Jonathan Swan corners Rashida Tlaib over prison bill that would release everybody. This is from Virginia Kruta. Axios reporter Jonathan Swan forced Democrat Rep. Rashida Tlaib into a corner during an interview, challenging her directly on support for a prison reform bill that would release everybody. Let's have a listen to what that sounded like.
In 2020, you endorsed the BREATHE Act, which is a series of proposals to transform America's criminal justice system and create, quote, a roadmap for prison abolition. The BREATHE Act proposes emptying federal detention facilities within 10 years. To what extent have you wrestled with any potential downsides of releasing into society every single person who's currently in a federal prison?
Yeah, I think that everyone's like, oh my God, we're going to just release everybody. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, but did you see how many people are mentally ill that are in prison right now?
No, I know, but the act that you endorsed actually says release everyone in 10 years.
But think about it. Who are releasing?
But there are like human traffickers.
Oh, I know.
Child sex. So, but you're saying, do you mean that?
Oh, I know, she says.
I can't watch this and not roll my eyes at this one. Good Lord. Just let them all out. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean, one of the things that, I mean, they're doing this for votes, obviously, because, we've got so many people in prison, we have to get them all out of prison and just let them come out and vote and do this and do that and do the next thing here.
The thing. But if they're in prison, they shouldn't be voting anyway. So why are we pandering to the people that are in prison? In prison means they're in for more than a year. Otherwise, they'd be in jail. For the most part, I believe it means they've committed a felony. So they should not be voting. They should have to earn those voting rights back.
I 100% agree with you, but that they're getting in here, and kudos to Jonathan Swan, because Axios is a major lefty outlet. Kudos to Swan for cornering her like this.
Absolutely.
That literally says that in the bill, and I've read the BREATHE Act. It literally does say that in the bill. We're going to let other people out. Now,
also, they need to have some sort of mental health facilities for these people. If they are indeed mentally ill, why on earth are they in prison? Why have we closed down all of the mental health facilities that are funded by our tax dollars? Now, taxation is theft. We shouldn't be paying for anything. But if we're paying for stuff, let's get some mental health help in the jails and the prisons.
Exactly. But that's what we have coming off of that. This one here came from The Verge. Google seeks recusal probe of incoming antitrust chief over Yelp and Microsoft cases. Reading briefly here, Google sent a letter to the Department of Justice Friday requesting that the department examine whether the newly confirmed antitrust division head, Jonathan Cantor, who has been a vocal critic of the search giant, should be recused from federal antitrust investigations into Google. In his new role, Cantor will lead the department's lawsuit against Google, alleging it has a monopoly in the search and advertising markets, which it does. And I would actually be okay with this. This would, for the most part, under most circumstances, be okay under the recusal process. Except I'm sure that Google is out there trying to bankroll and fund somebody that they can put there in his place who will rule in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting coming from The Verge, their take on it.
What is that?
It's not an outlet that usually I agree with too much. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, they've got the letter up in here too. It's a 5-page letter off of this, but yeah, just for this, I would say that yes, that would probably be the right thing to do, except for the fact that they're trying to bankroll somebody to go in there and rule in their favor. So I don't know how this is going to end, but if I was the government, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, we got a refresh one here. Because NBC News doesn't like having ad blockers on. All right. It's going to kick this message back up to me again in just a second. I don't know. Oh, I do know why this is running slow, because I have like 70 tabs open, but... There it goes. Continue without supporting. January 6th committee subpoenas Alex Jones, Roger Stone, and other Trump allies. The House Committee investigating the January 6th Selfie Fest issued subpoenas Monday to high-profile allies of the former president, including Roger Stone and Alex Jones. The committee is looking at Stone, a longtime advisor to Trump, and Jones, a conspiracy theorist who claimed that the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in Connecticut was a giant hoax in connection with a rally near the Capitol shortly before a pro-Trump mob stormed the building in early January. At what point do we just agree that this is a floor show?
It absolutely is. It's a circus. It's a huge distraction. And what are they distracting us from? Like, what's going on right now? What started today that they're distracting us from?
Oh, the Maxwell Trial, which I haven't heard a second of that off of that. I'd like to know what's going on with that. I'm sure that you've probably looked at a little bit of that.
I haven't. I wanted to call in. There's a phone number. I've posted it on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, but I was working all day today, so I haven't had a chance. But there's a couple of days this week that I'm working from home that I might call in and just listen in on what's going on there. It drives me nuts. And I understand it's not just this case, but all federal cases, they don't televise them. So you can't watch it like I did the Arbery case or the Rittenhouse case. But I really want to know what's being said in there.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people do. And rest in peace to Ghislaine Maxwell, born December 25th, was it 1946, and died
sometime next week.
To be determined. Yeah, next week.
Sometime next week. You've been reading my Instagram. That was another one of my memes.
I like that one. Just looking at this, though, I mean, I don't believe that this has anything to do with the January 6th Selfie Fest. I think that this is carte blanche for them to go and overturn the executive privilege and open up the documents.
If you noticed, every time they want to distract you from something, they bring up January 6th. Every single time they want you to look over here, they're saying, well, look at these people over here. Look at what they did. People walked into the Capitol and walked around. That's what happened. There was a couple of people that got a little bit out of pocket. You know, we need to do something about them. But if you didn't break anything, if you didn't go into restricted areas, then why? It wasn't an insurrection. No one was charged with insurrection. Not a single person.
Yeah, no, I get that. There was one guy there that did take a crap on the floor in the Capitol.
Oh, he did.
And I consider that guy to be a legend.
I hadn't heard that. I actually don't. I actually don't. I think, I mean, I try not to think, but I just want I'm having trouble finding my words. I disavow taking a shit on the Capitol floor and breaking stuff and putting your feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. That sort of stuff, I disavow that. Everything else, I'm all for. Protest. Do it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. I guess Fox Business has taken away the functionality of turn off your ad blocker, so fuck them. We'll skip that one. From the New York Post. Over 75. Let's see. More than 75% of the U.S. hit by inflation, and most blame Biden, poll shows. More than 3 out of 4 Americans say inflation is affecting their lives as the holiday season approaches, and more than half say President Biden deserves at least some blame for the high prices, according to a new poll. A Yahoo News YouGov survey released Tuesday found that 77% of Americans say inflation has recently affected them to some extent, while 61% say about the same about the ongoing supply chain crisis and the resulting shortage of goods and services. The poll also found that more than half of Americans, 51%, have expressed worry that they won't be able to afford what they need during the holidays due to inflation, while 45% fear they won't be able to get what they need because of the supply chain disruption. The disruptive effects of inflation cross partisan lines, as 69% of Democrats acknowledge high prices have affected them on some or a great deal. 9 out of 10 Republicans say the same, as do 79% of independents. So, yeah, I mean, this is fairly partisan, but even the leftoids are starting to realize that, hey, something's going on here. We need to do something.
It's crazy. The price of oil is down and the gas prices are still going up. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. And I just, noticing some of this stuff too. Like, I have an eidetic memory, so I remember the prices that I used to pay not that long ago, plus the prices I paid years and years ago on top of that too. But I just know I bought dish soap today. The regular, small bottle, because I live by myself, used to be just a couple months ago. It was $2.79 at the grocery store in town. It was a little bit less than the one down in the city, but in town here it was $2.79. It's $3.09 today.
What is it that you bought? I'm sorry.
The little bottle of Dawn.
Oh, Dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
Like dish soap?
Yeah, not the little bottle, but like the average size bottle of Dawn is up 30 cents.
You need to start shopping at the Dollar Tree. Get that generic.
I can't do generic because I have soap allergies. Dawn is one of the few ones that actually doesn't bother me. I do get generic when I can, but certain soaps I have to watch myself with.
I get it. I have to buy certain laundry detergent. I'm right there with you.
All right. But yeah, I mean, they're starting to realize that something's going on here.
Mm-hmm. It's not going to be long before everybody's on board. And I cannot see him serving a second term. I just can't see it. There's no way.
Yeah. What else do we have here? We got one for the Gates story. Remember that story here where Gates apparently trafficked a young girl? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the person who's trying to get him on this has pleaded guilty to another charge here. Reading from News Channel NBC 7 out of Panama City Beach, Fort Walton Beach man pleads guilty to scheme to defraud millions from the Gates family. A Fort Walton Beach man pleaded guilty to a scheme to attempt to defraud the Gates family, a political powerhouse in Florida, out of $25 million in exchange for a presidential pardon. Stephen M. Alford, 62, pled guilty Monday to one count of wire fraud related to his attempt to illegally obtain $25 million from Don Gates, a former president of the Florida Senate and the father of Matt Gates, who looks like Butthead. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Northern District of Florida says Alford tried to bribe the Gates family in exchange for a presidential pardon. This is while Gates is allegedly in the middle of a high-profile federal sex trafficking investigation that nobody's really paying attention to, unless they need to run him down the ground on Twitter.
Well, first things first, this woman that he sex trafficked was 17 and she was a prostitute. The age of consent in most countries is 14 or 16. Mm-hmm. So I don't agree with him sleeping with a 17-year-old, and I don't agree with prostitution or him getting a prostitute, whatever. But the way they're making him out to be this sex trafficker, and they're covering up all this that's going on with the Maxwell case right now, is just mind-blowing. But this guy was trying to buy a presidential pardon. Is that the gist I'm getting?
Yeah.
From the story?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, can you buy those?
Apparently you can try, but you go to prison for it.
But you go to prison. Yeah. Unsuccessful.
All right. What else do we have going on here? I got one from CNN. Biden hopes to announce his decision to release oil from Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but needs an agreement from other nations. And it does look like he did do this over the holiday weekend. But the thing with it is, it's not necessarily the fact that he did it. It's what this symbolizes to me. How do you say your energy policy has failed than going into the strategic reserve and throwing extra oil out there? Because that's what that says to me.
Do you know what would have helped this whole situation a lot? If we would have just built the
pipeline?
Damn pipeline. Yeah. Why now all of a sudden they're complaining about the oil prices? What did you think was going to happen when you were up there at Standing Rock protesting a pipeline? Like,
or everybody was going to buy an electric car. That's what was going to happen, right?
They're playing checkers and everyone else is playing chess. They're not thinking ahead at all.
Yeah, that's the admission right there. Your energy policy has failed. Mm-hmm. Now open the pipeline back up.
Yeah.
Speaking of the pipeline and what everybody's going to be doing here, let's listen to our transportation secretary himself, Mayor Pete, be out of touch.
Yeah, we're very excited to begin work on the EV charging network that the president envisions. 500,000 chargers across the country to make sure that in big, wide open spaces out west that you know that you can get a charge where you need one on a long trip, and in urban areas that are underserved, where people don't live in detached houses where you can just plug the car into your wall of your garage, that they have equitable access to. In fact, if you think about it, the two kinds of drivers who stand to benefit the most from electric vehicles are rural drivers who drive those long distances and burn a lot of gas, and lower income drivers in urban areas who would benefit the most from those fuel savings. Yeah, we're very excited to...
Low-income urban drivers who probably can't afford a brand new car right now.
And the electricity to charge it on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's not free.
And he's talking about rural is a very hard word for me to say, but he's talking about the people out in the country. You can't live out in the country and depend on your charge to get you where you need to go. There's people that I know that live hundreds of miles away from anything, out in the desert and stuff. You know, you can't rely on that. If there's no charging station, you're screwed. There's not even gas stations, you know?
Yeah.
Let alone charging stations. This isn't going to work.
But he says it is, and I mean, this is like one of the most out-of-touch things that I've heard in quite a while.
He also thinks roads are racist, so, you know, what can I tell?
Yeah, that's absolutely true, too. He certainly does, but it's... The thing that worries me about this when I listen to something like this is, are we going to get another Cash for Clunkers?
Are we going to get... I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Another Cash for Clunkers program.
Oh, probably. They can't have my car because they're going to give me a car and the government's going to want to sit shotgun, and I don't want the government in my passenger seat watching what I'm doing.
Well, that was the worst part of it too with Cash for Clunkers. I was working at a Ford dealer when Cash for Clunkers came out, which, I mean, it was cool that, okay, well, we've given these loans to people who really can't afford to buy a new car. It's cool, it's new, it's fuel efficient. You bought a new fuel efficient car. But now we're taking these cars in that most of them, with a couple $100, could have been turned around and flipped. I'm going to tell you right now, some of the cars that I saw in there could have been flipped for a couple $100. They brought me in a Fox body Mustang with transmission problems and told me that I was obligated to drill a hole through the engine block.
That's crazy.
Because it was taken in on Cash for Clunkers.
Wow. That's a shame.
A little bit of rust around the edge of the body and some transmission problems.
All it needed was a new transmission.
Yeah.
Horrible.
And it wasn't just that. I mean, it was, old Escorts, old stuff like that. Cavaliers every once in a while, if people wanted to trade up for a Focus or something. Stuff that's not usually a great car. But I mean, a Cavalier with a bad set of brakes. Throw a set of brakes on, do a little bit of body work to it. It's out there. A couple $100. You can turn around and sell it for more than the Cash for Clunkers got out of it.
Yeah.
But it was drill the hole in there so we can send it out for the junkyard.
And then they're going to complain about the environment.
And now I'm guessing they're going to try to do this again to try and get more of these people into electric cars.
I wouldn't doubt it.
All right. We got one from our friends over at NPR over here. Families of Parkland shooting victims settled a lawsuit with DOJ for about $130 million. Families of more than a dozen victims of the 2018 school shooting in Parkland, Florida, have reached a settlement with the Justice Department to resolve their lawsuit over the FBI's failure to act on tips about the gunman. Which is all well and good. I'm glad when the government gets punished for what they did wrong. However, what's going to change?
They're going to put in red flag laws.
I don't think they're going to enforce.
They're going to enforce them. They're going to take your gun if you say something a little off. If you make a joke, if you make the wrong joke at a bar, they're going to come knock on your door. Unfortunately for Mr. Zed and I, we've lost all of ours in a boating accident a few weeks ago. So,
yeah,
it was horrible.
Oh, I'm glad you could swim.
The guns could not.
But I mean, yeah, you're not seeing people get fired over this. You're not seeing people lose their job. You're not seeing funding getting taken away from the FBI. You're just, here's some more taxpayer money. Shuffle it around. From SF Gate from San Francisco. San Francisco to limit car access to Union Square after Louis Vuitton theft, rather. Cars will be restricted in San Francisco's Union Square after a shocking incident of retail theft on Friday night. The San Francisco Police Department said in a statement it responded to reports of possible looting and vandalism at several retail establishments, including the Louis Vuitton, at about 8:10 p.m. So let's not actually figure out why they're coming in here and stealing and doing stuff here. Let's just keep the cars from going down there.
Jogger's gonna jog, that's why.
Hi, Susan.
I just like to say, I don't know if you watch the Young Turks at all.
Nope.
Sank recently about this story was saying that they have a video where you can see one white guy. Mm-hmm. He was trying to convince his whole audience that it was middle-class white people doing all of this looting all over the country. It was quite hilarious. Yeah. I highly suggest hate watching him sometimes. It's good fun.
I don't have time to hate watch anybody else.
If I see any good clips, I'll just send them your way so you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can just get the good stuff.
That works. Here's an incredible white pill video off of this. We watched this over on Contemporary. This is the car accident to end all car accidents. So let's watch what happened here from a dash cam. Guy's just walking across the street. There he goes. Wait for it.
Oof. Imagine being the person in that white car.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the hell just happened?
And then the guy who just walked across the street, just casually walking back over there, which means he got missed by the flying car.
Yeah, imagine if that white car was something smaller. If it was a Prius or one of those little electric cars, like it would have been smashed to bits. That person would be dead if they weren't in an SUV. Was that an SUV or a minivan or something? Yeah,
it was a little crossover.
Still,
I still think I find it funny though, and I mean, it does look like nobody got hurt off of this. It's just to see this white car randomly driving up with another car on his windshield.
Yeah,
that was
piggyback ride.
Yeah, that was great. What else do we have here? Too late, we're fucked. Democrats panic over 2022. As surveys show, their entire brand is a wreck. This is from Ryan Saavedra over at the Daily Wire. New surveys from the Democrat Party strategists reportedly show that the party's brand is in shambles nationwide as the Biden admin deals with skyrocketing inflation, rising fuel costs, a continued disaster on the U.S. southern border, fallout from the disaster in Afghanistan, and numerous other problems. I went by Fort McCoy the other day, just going back on the foreign policy thing, and I mean, it all looks quiet over there, but it was also dark out when I went by there.
Yeah.
That disappeared out of the news in a hurry. What they discovered, largely through focus groups and polling, was even worse than expected, Politico reported. The problem cut far deeper than the failings of their gubernatorial nominee, Terry McAuliffe, or President Joe Biden's flagging approval ratings. Rather, the Democrat Party's entire brand was a wreck. People who voted for Biden could not name anything the Democrats have done except a few who pointed to the infrastructure bill, which he didn't get a boost in ratings for that either.
No, because gas is so damn high.
Yeah.
I can't be excited about roads if I can't drive my car because I can't put gas in it.
I can't be excited about roads because it's against my nature. But I mean, they failed, and they know they failed. Mm-hmm. They're trying to say that they didn't fail, but they know they failed at this point.
It feels like we should be all the way at the end of 4 years by now. It hasn't even been a year yet, Ed.
I know.
It's not even been a year. It's crazy.
I know. But that's what they see off of that. Let's listen to Hillary, shall we?
Oh, all right.
Do I have this one down here? Or do I have it up here? No, I don't have it up here. All right.
You're going to make me listen to Maddow and Hillary?
Yes, together. So Hillary hits Americans as gullible, say they don't appreciate Biden's accomplishments. Let's listen.
What accomplishments?
Come on. Maybe.
She's aged a lot, hasn't she? Look at that.
Yeah, she has. I don't know why the hell this won't play. It may be a blessing at some point.
Yes, somebody's looking out for me. Thanks.
Come on.
Doesn't like your ad blocker. That's too bad. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't have to listen to Hillary, or we can't listen to Hillary and Rachel Maddow.
I guess we can at least talk about it a little bit here. Failed Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton Tuesday praised the legislative accomplishments of President Biden, although nobody knows what they are, while appearing to claim that everyday Americans don't understand or appreciate them. During an appearance on Maddow, Clinton complained that the successful exploiting of social media misinformation by Republicans, blaming the lack of gatekeepers and people with a historic perspective to help Americans understand what they were seeing. You know, democracy is messy. You know, a lot of people got, I think, kind of frustrated looking at the messy process of legislation. And they didn't really appreciate that. Within a year, the Biden administration has passed 2 major pieces of legislation through both the House and Senate, Clinton said, referencing the coronavirus relief bill and the infrastructure bill that were both signed into law this year. By any measure, those are extraordinary accomplishments, but because of the way that we're getting our information today, because of the lack of gatekeepers, and the people who have a historic perspective who can help us understand what we're seeing, there's a real vulnerability in the electorate to the kind of demagoguery and disinformation that, unfortunately, the other side is really good at exploiting.
Did they mention any accomplishments at all?
The coronavirus bill and the relief bill and the infrastructure bill.
Accomplishments. Nothing, right?
That's all they had.
Horrible.
Oh, now is it going to play? What the fuck? Fox News is goofy as shit.
It doesn't usually, it's usually not bad.
Yeah, they're eager to go play stuff. It's moving, but I'm not getting any sound, so screw them. Yeah, are Americans unappreciative? Do they not appreciate what Biden's done for them? I mean, no more mean tweets.
I don't appreciate it. So yes,
no more mean tweets.
I'm unappreciative. The mean tweets were great. I love a good mean tweet. I miss the mean tweets. Aggressive tweets. I like them all. Kofefe, wonderful stuff.
All right, Klobuchar got in the news this week. Let's listen to what she had to say, because she's confident that we'll get the Build Back Better plan done by Christmas.
You've laid out what you see as the benefits of the plan, but your colleague, Democratic colleague from West Virginia, Senator Joe Manchin, continues to signal that he wants to push this off until next year. What are the consequences of delay? Are you confident it will get done before Christmas?
I am. And Senator Manchin is still at the negotiating table, talking to us every day, talking to us about voting rights, getting that bill done, restoring the Senate. He is talking to us about this bill. When I look at this drama in the next month, I break it down into a mini-series. And the first part is the defense bill and a bridge to the budget. Vast majority of senators support that. We'll get that done. Second thing, the debt ceiling. You know, if the Republicans want to Scrooge out on us and increase people's interest rates and make it hard to make car payments, go ahead, make that case. We're going to stop them from doing that. The third, as I mentioned, voting rights, fundamental to our country. You see partisan gerrymandering going on, and what we're talking about here is restoring the rules of the Senate so we can pass a bill that Senator Manchin has signed his name onto, the bill I lead, the bill Senator Schumer has been bringing every people together on, and that is the Freedom to Vote Act. And finally, what we just talked about, the Build Back Better bill. We can get this done. It's
you said you can get it all
old song. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear the song now.
I don't want to hear the song. Why does she shake every time she talks?
Her voice, you know why? Because she's a woman and she's nervous. And repeal the 19th.
As far as this goes, though, I mean, I think she said one of the quiet parts out loud of this too. The debt ceiling is over, and I looked into this in 4 days. Mm-hmm. We're going to have this fight again in 4 days. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're not supposed to be paying attention to that.
The other thing that she said is about Republicans wanting to raise the interest rate and this and that. Who's saying they want to raise the interest rate? That's crazy. What happens is when the Democrats are in there, the inflation happens and the interest rates go like they screw it all up, but then they're saying the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Well, when the debt ceiling hits, it is going to raise the prime interest rate. So that's where she was going with that. When we default on our debt, it's going to raise the prime interest rate for American consumers.
I mean,
but that's what we're going to see. They're going to get it done by Christmas.
Great.
Since you were a meme smith, I decided to include this here. Speaking of the Department of Transportation, this meme here. What are you thinking about? Boy, text back. I'm thinking about how the new infrastructure law is going to make getting from place to place so much better over the next decade, and how, when combined with the Build Back Better Act, it will create millions of new jobs. And the girl texts back, same! Another wall of text.
Yeah. No, by the way, gentlemen, you don't want a woman like this. Trust me. No matter what side you're on, you don't want a woman that's just going to agree with everything you say. It gets boring really fast.
Oh, I know. That's kind of how my third engagement went. And the second one, now that I think about it.
I mean, ask Mr. Zed. We have lively discussions on a plethora of topics.
Dude, the left cannot meme.
No, not at all. I can meme better than that, and I'm a girl, so, you know.
I like the fixed one off of here. It's the same in the first two slides, and then the third slide's the girl types back, blocked.
That's good.
That's awesome. Let's talk about Lauren Boebert. Boebert introduces legislation to ban federal settlement payments to illegal migrants. Rep. Boebert, the fiery House GOP freshman from Colorado, is introducing a legislation to prohibit the federal government from making settlement payments to illegal immigrants who have sued because their families were separated at the border. This bill is called the We're Not Paying You to Break Our Laws Act.
Is that really? That's a joke, right?
No. I can get the document up here. There it is on the screen right there. HR doesn't have a number yet. In the House of Representatives, a bill. It's 16 lines in total, which all bills should be that way.
Yeah, better than how it was 400 pages of that other one.
Yeah. This act may be cited as the We're Not Paying You to Break Our Laws Act. This law comes out from a lawsuit that is coming in from Arizona, the United States District Court for the District of Arizona, in AIIL versus Sessions 419 CV 00481, or any substantially similar civil action brought by an individual as a result of action taken to enforce the memorandum of the Attorney General entitled Zero Tolerance for offenses under 8 U.S. Code Section 1325A and dated April 6, 2018. So she's actually citing a case that's going through there right now, but she's also mentioning anything similar to that.
I don't understand how this lawsuit, like, they're breaking the law. You can't, like, if you're a coke dealer and another coke deal steals your coke, you can't sue. Like, the government's not supposed to help you if you're breaking the laws. Like, I don't understand how this is even a possibility.
But it was mean that they got separated at the border under Trump. I've also noticed that this doesn't...
that coke dealer stole my coke, too. But I can't use the judicial system to sue the guy that stole my shit.
I also noticed that it only affects families who were separated under Trump. It doesn't affect the ones who were separated under Obama, which happened, by the way. It
happened a lot more.
Yeah. It didn't affect the ones that happened under Bush or Clinton, who put the policy into place.
For the record, Susan, I am not a coke dealer. That was just a store. Like, that was not. Never mind. It came off bad. I'm not actually a drug dealer. I'm just saying, if I was, you can't,
All right, and the last one that we have here, going on with your repeal of the 19th comment here, Sweden's first ever female prime minister resigns just hours after her appointment. 8 hours
that's
after her
too
appointment.
bad. She couldn't hack it, huh? Couldn't handle the pressure?
Well, because they don't have a coalition government, they can't pass a budget. So she actually is on the short list to be appointed and confirmed again, but she wants to have an actual coalition where they can make a budget. That seems to be what caused her to leave, was they can't pass a budget.
So she couldn't stick it out until they can get shit done, and then... I don't know anything about foreign governments' politics. Like, I don't understand how it works or whatever, but it seems to me that wouldn't you be the one to pass the budget? Like,
well, you have to have a majority coalition in a prime ministry state, which I don't understand. I know a little bit of how it works, but I don't know enough. Hell, our laws are hard enough to keep track of. All right. That's what I have for the lightning round. Let's see what they're saying over here in the live chat.
Oh, that was the lightning round? I talked a lot during the lightning round. I'm sorry.
That happens. Well, our chat talked a lot too. Quest Fanning is here. Highleaf is here with the half track. Shalaga, welcome on in. The Z623, welcome.
That's the Mr. Zed.
Nice. Life to the Max is here. Arbolt is here. What up, Edheads and Ignatz? Quest Fanning says, random thought, Encyclopedia Satanica. Oh, Katie Z is taken off. Oh, think of all the topics one can study. That's funny. Life to the Max says, spectacular with all the tabs I've opened. Yeah, I got a lot. Singing. Should have paid more attention to Alex Jones.
I had to blow my nose, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to do that pretty much every morning anyway. At least one point, but I can usually play video when I go. Quest says, more than 3 out of 4 Americans are not retarded. Mr. Zed says, Carolina steamer on Pelosi desk. I myself would not do it, but I probably would not turn someone in for doing it. Fanning says, FYI, it's not transitory. Quest says, Carolina, not Cleveland, Mr. Zed. Is that more exotic or something? Life of the Max says, you could be charged with aiding and abetting, dropping a deuce.
Your chat is just horrible with the poop jokes. Where did you find these people?
I find them around everywhere. Life to the Max says, I love Dollar Tree. Prices haven't gone up at mine, but but I think maybe after the new year. Probably will.
Yeah.
Highleaf says, also seeing the flash mobs hit businesses, I have a way to solve the problem, and it involves Roof Koreans and Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, there's the end of the YouTube stream. We'll see you in the morning on the YouTube side. We'll be on every other platform. Breakdown with Birkenhoff is here. Life to the Max says, someone besides Beto looks like Butthead. Quest says, Biden is asserting he's helping a transition, but this timescales are totally out of whack. And you can also charge in a garage in cities because private companies saw it and saw a need and filled it. Yes. Life to the Max says, cash for clunkers is why used cars are so expensive. Fact check true. Fanning says, cash for clunkers put a lot more waste in landfills. Life to the Max said, it must have been painful to destroy those cars. It was.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Life to the Max says, jog, smash, grab, jog, repeat. Mr. Zed says, bringing the guy back to the scene of the accident. Glad the pedestrian made it out, though.
Can't hit and run if a car picks up your car and brings you back.
Highleaf says, the Build Back Better by Christmas sounds like the war will end by Christmas, but the problem is they forgot to say which Christmas. Wagonator says, why don't the crazy right-wingers just accept the government, pharma, companies, and corporate media are just trying to get us out of this mess, and the more we comply with them, the sooner this will all be over. No. See that flag behind me? We will not comply. Life to the Max had to take off, and we are in to the topic. So we will circle back.
Life to the Max. I'll see you in the morning.
We will do the sake, and we will circle back after we talk about what happened in Wisconsin here. So let's talk just a bit about this. So we've got a few things to talk about here. I know that we're going to be talking about the Darrell. Do you want to do Rittenhouse or Darrell Brooks first?
Either way, it's your show.
All right, I do want to talk just a bit about what's going on with the Darrell Brooks case. Now, as of this point, we actually have some information as to what went on there. I know that the information was scarce when we did this last week. There was a lot of information that was out there. Darrell Brooks, 39, with an extensive criminal record, drove a car, allegedly intentionally, through a crowd of people at a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin at 4:03 p.m. local time. Mm-hmm. Now we know at this point, and this is on record, this isn't just 4chan digging, this is on record now coming from the news outlets, that he was out on bail. It was a few months earlier when he ran his, at the time, girlfriend over with a car. She showed up in the emergency room with tire tracks on her legs, and he was let out for $1,000. That was his bail. He also has a lot of other various different charges. Rape, statutory rape, in Nevada, where he went out to try to start a new life. He's back on child support. He's had a criminal record since he was 17. This is a charming fellow that we have over here.
Didn't he sex traffic a young girl to Las Vegas when he was out there as well?
I don't know if she came from here or if she was living out there at the time. That is unclear. Mm-hmm. But yes, he had a baby with an underage girl when he was out in Vegas.
So all around swell fella.
Yes. At this point now, he's remanded. He's on bail, on a $5 million bail. And somebody's already tried to raise that money.
Of course they have. Of course they have. And he's got a bad habit of running people over with cars. So if he does get out, you better believe that whoever puts money into that pot better feel really bad when he runs somebody else over.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Well, in a surprising move of consistency from GoFundMe this week, there was a GoFundMe that was put up, but they shut it down almost immediately over the weekend.
They did the same thing for Rittenhouse, so at least they're playing by their own rule. Like, at least it's not rules for thee and not for me. You know?
Yeah, but my question with that is, did they shut it down because they had to because of Rittenhouse, or did they do it because they genuinely don't believe in hosting that kind of content?
I don't know. I haven't researched it, but have they had bail funds for anybody else on there, or is it just no bail funds?
No, they've had bail funds all the time. Up until the Rittenhouse thing, they had bail funds on there all the time, all the goddamn time. This was not a new thing for them.
Yeah, I don't know then.
And it just does seem to me like this was a, oh shit, well we got caught, now we gotta play by the rules. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's happening with that, but I mean, good on the consistency at least. Yeah. I've joked around in different live chats too that at some point here it's going to be the Minnesota Freedom Fund that lets him out.
Yeah. What is with Wisconsin letting these people out of prison? There's so many. Like half of the people that were killed in Kenosha that night were criminals that were out on bail.
No, not necessarily all out on bail, but the ones for the Rittenhouse trial, mm-hmm. I think they had all at least served their time at this point. Grosskreutz was awaiting trial.
Jump Kick Man was out on bail.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he was.
Grosskreutz was out on bail.
With Jump Kick Man, that is assuming that because he was masked, that's actually who it was, or not somebody who just looked at this and said, "Oh, hey, this random anonymous person here with a mask on, that was definitely me. I'll testify. Just give me a sweetheart deal."
That could be it too. Who knows?
I more believe that that's what that was.
You think so?
I really do.
I cannot see somebody coming forward because that could be attempted murder charges. Why would you admit to that? Like, it seems kind of crazy to me, although they're not the smartest people, so maybe.
No,
and by they, I mean criminals, not joggers.
Oh, I disavow, I disavow, I disavow. I do have some video talk about from...
You knew this was going to happen. You've seen my Instagram, right? You knew bringing me on this would... Okay, just checking. Like, you're not surprised by this at all.
that's one of the things that goes along with this is I am used to dealing with an LP proper libertarian on the other side of the screen. So I have said on this camera I disavow a lot.
Gotcha.
You're not the first person to pull that reaction out of me. Brooks did when he did get finished with this. Now the talk is that he was supposedly running from a domestic dispute incident at the time, and I don't believe that, but we do have footage from the Ring camera of the house that he went to try and call, or to try to escape to here. So let me get that up here. And this isn't coming from technically it's coming from the Blaze, but they're getting it via MSNBC. So it's not like this is super left-weighted out or anything else like that. This is
also raw footage of the Ring camera. So how can they, you know what I mean? There's not much spin you can put on it.
Oh, MSNBC will find the spin.
Yeah.
Video will play after the ad.
Mom said she could save up to
because fucking Beck makes me turn off the ad blocker on his website.
Xfinity, internet, and mobile.
Apparently Fox is going to make you do that now too.
Just business. That's the nice part. It's just business. But regular Fox News didn't.
Got this new doorbell camera video of the suspect. What does this video show? What else have we learned about his criminal record?
Well, Craig, what this video appears to show is just about 20 minutes after this incident at the Christmas parade. You can see Darrell Brooks knocking on the door of a homeowner saying that he needs him to call an Uber and that he's homeless. Now, NBC News has talked to this homeowner who says he had no idea of this incident that had happened at this Christmas parade. He ends up allowing Brooks to come inside his home. He even makes the guy a sandwich. But then this homeowner says he noticed that there was a lot of police officers in his neighborhood. He got nervous and asked Brooks to leave. He did. And then moments later, you see on that doorbell video camera the moments that police encounter Brooks telling him to put his hands up. But as you said, this guy has an extensive criminal background history going back decades. Just earlier this month, for example, he was arrested for a domestic dispute where, according to court documents, he rolled over the mother of his child. She had a tire mark on her leg. He was able to post bond of $1,000 and get out. That's something that the district attorney here says was very low. But yeah, you fast forward to Sunday and you're talking about 5 people dead, nearly 50 people injured. Of them, 18 are children, many fighting for their lives. 10 of those kids in the ICU, 6 in critical condition. And this is a broken community right now, mourning the loss of those.
Yeah, and they've got the raw footage. They don't have the raw audio that goes back with it. Which I have seen the raw audio that goes with it. I didn't have it queued up for the video here, but
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, because he's out there, hands up and everything. Supposedly, when they brought him in for arraignment, he was crying in great remorse to what he had done.
Bullshit. Crocodile tears. They were talking about Kyle Rittenhouse having crocodile tears. That's crocodile tears. He knew exactly what he's doing, and he's proud of himself.
You think?
Absolutely. He didn't need to. He didn't need to go towards a parade. Like he was swerving into people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've checked out his social media. I checked it out the next morning before it could be taken down. But this man is an absolute racist, and he wanted to kill white people.
Well, that actually brings
in
me
my
into,
opinion.
That brings me into my next point here. So this tweet came out a couple days after the incident here from the Daily Beast. How big-time right-wing trolls Andy Ngo and Tim Pool tied the Waukesha killings to Black Lives Matter. And Tim Pool's producer, Sour Patch Lids, says, "Hey, I found this video for you, journalists," in quotes.
I don't know. Now, we'll have to wait and see, because they do have somebody in custody. We may have to wait and see what they say about why this happened. But it sounds like possible that the revolution has started in Wisconsin, starting with this Christmas parade. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's something I'm missing, but I said I wasn't going to speak on no rumors. Y'all are repeating some of the stuff that, that has come up. And I did tell you that the initial person who reached out to me said that they believe that this has to do with the verdict. And so I made an assumption of which side it would be from, but I don't know.
The revolution may have begun.
They don't want this fight. I don't know if they know this or not, but they do not want this fight.
Well, that's one that I said right from the beginning too. I did wonder with the timing if this was something to do with the verdict.
He had commented on his socials about the verdict, if I recall correctly. He was upset about the verdict.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that aspect to it. You know who did surprise me this week? Who? Deborah Messing.
What'd she do?
You don't know what she did you?
I told you I've been crazy busy.
Deborah Messing tweeted out on November 24th, "Dear mainstream media, a man intentionally drove his car through a parade, killing 6 and injuring 50 plus. It was not an accident. Call it by its name," surrounded by fire emojis, hashtag Waukesha Massacre. And it was a domestic terror attack. Don't minimize, please.
Good for her. She's going to get canceled, but good for her.
Yeah, that's probably true. She's probably going to get canceled.
Are we gonna talk about that senator or is it a state senator from Illinois?
Why, yes. Yes, I have that one up here too, actually.
Just checking. I have thoughts.
Yeah, there's that aspect to this, but I mean, good on Messing.
Like, really, exact opposite of that woman from Illinois. Like, very good on her. And it's scary. I imagine for somebody in that sort of position, it's scary to write that. Like, she was probably nervous hitting that send button. But she did the right thing, and she should be proud of herself.
Well, it is a turning of the tide, too, in some of these things that we see. I texted you before we got started here. Mm-hmm. Just thinking back to something that happened last year over the St. George riots and the St. Jacob riots there, and I commented of why all the attractive YouTubers are raging leftoids. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't think that we could get through the dinner without killing each other. But man, I would still love to have dinner with Ann Reburn, a lot.
No, you wouldn't.
She's cute. She is cute.
You say that. And what did I tell you in that text message? What did I say?
I know.
It's the very last thing on the box that you need to tick is looks.
She's got good taste in music, too. But I do remember last year when she did the cover of I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing, the Coca-Cola song, and she cut it off, and the end of it said, how can we live in perfect harmony when people are saying that Black lives don't matter, which nobody was saying, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't live with that for more than 5 minutes. Think about this. Like, this is Katie's dating advice corner. When you grow old with somebody, looks are not going to matter anymore. If you cannot live with somebody's brain, if you cannot have a conversation with somebody, it's doomed from the beginning. Forget about how somebody looks. Just, they could be the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It doesn't matter. If you are attracted to their mind, that's all that matters.
Yeah. No, I get
Just
that.
don't say yeah and shrug it off. This is good advice.
I know.
I'm giving you this advice for free.
Well, we have to keep going on.
All right. But no, this is for another show. We'll do a call-in show, and I'll give all the men in your audience dating advice.
We do have to talk about the Illinois Democrat, though, because I know that you wanted to talk about that. So this comes to us from the New York Post. Illinois Dem blasted for calling Wisconsin Christmas rampage karma. An Illinois Democrat has been blasted for describing the deadly Christmas parade as a rampage in Wisconsin as karma for the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse, which, that's kind of why I pushed the two of these together a little bit, too, is because it does seem like this is right there. Mary Lemansky, who's listed was listed as the social media director for the Democrat Party of DuPage County, began her heartless online tirade by snarkily dismissing the tragedy as just self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if I have the tweets. I know that, yeah, there's the one that got screenshotted.
Do you have the rap song? Do you have that queued up?
I don't have the rap song. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, she's got social media. She does rap. She does singing and rapping. It's great. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we might get copyright pop for that. But there's the tweet right there. She says, it was probably just self-defense.
How do you look at a car driving through a high school marching band, a group called, was the Grannies?
The Dancing Grannies.
The Dancing Grannies, and a young girls dance group, and tweet something like that or say something like that and turn it into your political, like a political knife to stab your opponent with. How do you see dead children and do that?
Well, we can explore this here. She goes on to say, the tweet has since been deleted, but she says, I'm sad anytime someone dies. I just believe in karma, and this came around quick on the citizens of Wisconsin, Lemansky wrote. You reap what you sow. It's sad people died, but when you open the door to vigilante justice, everybody seems threatening, she then added, in a tweet that was still online on Monday morning. Lemansky appeared to be mocking Rittenhouse's self-defense claim before the 18-year-old was acquitted Friday of charges of homicide, attempted homicide, reckless endangerment. On Monday morning, Lemansky said in a tweet, I'm going to hell because I already made a deal with the devil that no one else on earth would go to hell if I go, so you're welcome.
This woman is going to hell. She needs to change her life right now if she doesn't want that to be the case. Now, in my opinion, there's always hope for redemption for anybody. No matter how bad of a person they are, there's hope for redemption. She needs to start seeking that immediately.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she's going to. The first thing she needs to do is get out of DuPage County.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing anybody needs to do.
When I first read or heard about the story, I don't read, when I first heard of this story, I was thinking DuPage was, I haven't lived there in a long time, but I was thinking it was right up there on the border right next to Kenosha, but it's not. It's off to the west side of Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's not as close. But still, like, I just don't see how. I'm just going to repeat myself. So continue.
Well, it is, and it's like you said. How do you look at something like this and say self-defense? It's some of the people push back.
The same day she wrote this is the same day that young boy ended up dying.
Yes.
Like it was 8-year-old boy died the same day, and she's gonna use that to poke at her political opponents. What the hell is wrong?
Yeah, some of these people have no shame. And what actually got me into doing this was reading the comment section on Scott Walker's Facebook page.
Really?
And just some of the nastiness that was thrown around there. They don't care who they step on.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That nothing is off limits to these people. And really, honestly, when I look at some of the stuff, some of this other stuff that happens here, the left is probably the most racist people I've ever met. And I said this over on Contemporary, and Quest tried to get me to tell the joke on air, and that one's Susan bait. But the joke about how you get 44 Jews in a Volkswagen, you know who I heard that from for the first time?
No.
One of the most progressive people I know. One of the leftist most progressive people I know. It's somebody that you don't know, but it's that didn't come from some right-wing edgelord on 4chan or something. That came
Are you
from
going to text me the punchline or what? After you could do it after the show if you want.
No, I'm going to do it right now.
All right. Get that mute button ready. I might read it out loud. I usually can get most jokes, but this one I have no idea. So.
I can't believe you haven't heard that joke before.
Oh my God.
Now you see why I can't say that on YouTube.
Just so you know, cars don't come with ashtrays anymore. Totally off topic.
Yeah, it was a super progressive leftoid that told me that joke for the first time.
Wow. I was in one of these rooms, the Twitter rooms or spaces or whatever they're called. Twitter spaces, just before we went live. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you what, it was a leftist space, and it was the most racist shit I've ever heard in my life. Oh, yeah. I actually was, somebody else who we both know was also in that room, and I messaged them saying, I've lived in the South for a really long time, and I've never met anybody as racist as what I'm hearing right now. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Really racist shit.
Yeah. So that's what we have on Darrell Brooks right now. And I know that this has gone, it's fallen off the news cycle. They're trying hard not to talk about it. And
yeah,
a lot of people on social media are still trying to talk about it because it is something that we need to see.
Yeah, we need to see this through. We need to watch this case all the way through to the end. Just like they did with Rittenhouse and with the McMichaels and all of the cases that are their pet cases, we need to pay attention to this just as much as we're paying attention to, they're trying not to make us not pay attention to Maxwell case, but we need to pay attention to this just as much as I personally am paying attention to the Maxwell case. It's important.
Yeah, it is. Before we get off of this topic, I did want to tell you or show you what Vice has had to say about this entire situation.
Okay.
Neo-Nazis are using the Waukesha attack for propaganda. We don't have to read this article.
Neo-Nazis are?
Yeah.
What kind of propaganda? I missed this propaganda. What are they talking about? Wait, am I a neo-Nazi?
Apparently. Only a day after a man drove his SUV into a Christmas parade in the suburb of Milwaukee, killing 5 people and injuring 48. Right-wing extremists are using the incident as propaganda, spinning it as a calculated terrorist attack perpetuated by a left-wing radical.
It was. Did they not look at his social media? That's exactly what it was. This is not propaganda.
Without knowing the motives of the driver, a Wisconsin man named Darrell E. Brooks Jr. with a history of domestic violence and a recent arrest for vehicular assault, far-right Telegram channels are full of terror allegations, despite categorical police statements rejecting that terrorism had anything to do with the tragic events.
When somebody tells you why they're doing something, I tend to believe them.
Yeah? But this is Vice already.
Oh my God.
For example, one post by a neo-Nazi prepper account called the mainstream media for some sort of coordinated cover-up describing the incident as a blatant anti-white terror attack.
It was. I don't see anything wrong with these statements. This is what happened.
Well, apparently Vice did, because they had to come back and write about it. This was from November 23rd, so this was 6 days ago.
Can you believe Vice used to be center?
Can you believe that Tim Pool tries to convince people that he doesn't still work for Vice?
Well, and isn't that the one that Gavin McInnes started? Gavin McInnes and Tim Pool?
I don't know if McInnes was involved, but I know Tim Pool was a founding member of Vice. You are correct.
I thought Gavin was as well. How things have changed, huh?
Yeah.
It's crazy talk. I do hate watch Vice YouTube videos as well.
Now, it looks like everything is trying to go back to business as normal. They've had a vigil the next day, 24 hours later. They also had a vigil this past Sunday for the victims at this point. But they are being a little bit more secure at this point. You can see that you've got the municipal trucks lined up at the, surrounding, keeping people off the roads here rather than just a cheap fiberglass barrier. They've actually got the Freightliner sitting out there with the plows down.
That's good.
And also the parade in West Bend this past weekend went off without a hitch, that's in Washington County, just north of, is it Washington or Ozaukee? I think it's Ozaukee County now I think about it. But just north of Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
They also had their Christmas parade this past weekend, also with the county trucks with the plows down.
That's good. I'm worried about, we don't have plow trucks where I am, because we don't have snow. It's great. You should come move down here. But we have a Christmas parade every year, and it worries me because they just have those little wooden like horses, like the level 3 or whatever barriers, and there's nothing to stop somebody from driving through that. Nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's scary. It's terrorism because that's what has been accomplished. People going to parades halfway across the country have it in the back of their head now that somebody could just drive the fuck through this thing. No,
I get it entirely. I think about it every time I go out there. It was the same thing when I talked about the coronavirus for the first time.
Yeah.
We're scared if we go outside, we'll catch the coronavirus and we'll die. Dude, I'm scared of a Buick hitting me if I cross the street. I still go across the street on foot.
Yeah. For sure.
Let's talk about Rittenhouse for a little bit here. So, Rittenhouse was on Tucker this past week. They had a 10-minute interview that went over there. He talked about the fact that what happened there, what some of the details of what happened before the trial, some of the Lynn Wood details, which I think are good off of this. One of the things that Tucker asked was if he's planning on filing defamation lawsuits. Now, there's already been a rumor that he has filed a defamation lawsuit. As of this point, there is nothing in the Wisconsin court system for a defamation lawsuit for Kyle Rittenhouse.
It probably wouldn't be out of Wisconsin, though. It would be out of New York or Atlanta, wouldn't it?
No, the agreement would happen in Wisconsin, so it would be out of the Wisconsin courthouse. There's also nothing in the Illinois courts either.
I would think that they'd have to sue wherever they were broadcasting from. Like if it was CNN, it would be Atlanta. And if it was like a lot of the other news outlets are in New York, I would think you would have to sue there. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Well, let's listen to what happened with this and what's going to be happening with this. Oops, I need to do this one.
Holding some of these liars to account. Do you plan to do that?
I have really good lawyers who are taking care of that right now. So I'm hoping one day there will be accountability for their actions that they did.
Okay, so you're intent on you're not going to let that go.
Like I said, really good lawyers are handling that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's good, because if he's got an ongoing litigation, he shouldn't be talking about it on air.
Yeah, for sure.
But there has been some interesting stuff. Just a development today that I've got an article queued up for tomorrow for that I haven't talked about in Contemporary yet. But I guess he was supposed to be going to Arizona State University. And
he's
now
online,
they're protesting.
Yeah.
Well, now they're protesting to demand that he get kicked out of Arizona State University.
This is crazy. I read an article about this today as well. He's taking online classes. There are students in Arizona that are worried about somebody taking online classes from Wisconsin. This is an attention grab. This is somebody who wants free tuition is what this is.
Yeah, most likely.
No one's afraid of Kyle Rittenhouse.
Well, men who like to diddle little kids should be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that happened in Arizona too. Wasn't that where his crimes were at? The Rosenbaum?
Actually, I believe they were. That's correct.
Out of Phoenix, yeah, or maybe Tucson. Yep.
So, the interview went very well. I listened to the whole interview. I had that one clip for there, but I mean, it is standard fare. I guess Rittenhouse is a BLM supporter. I didn't realize that.
I don't think he is. If you listen to the way he's worded that, he's just saying, I support people's right to protest. Mm-hmm. In my opinion. Also, even if he is saying that, what kind of crazy stuff did you think when you were 18? Because I can tell you some crazy shit I thought. Like, he's 18. He'll grow out of it. He's already on the right path, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think he's kind of being forced down the right path. I don't know if he would have, especially at that age and coming from Antioch, if he would have come to that on his own, but he's kind of being pushed in that direction.
And it's smart. It's a smart thing to do. It's a smart thing to say, for sure.
Yeah, especially when he's up on air. Yeah. Where is it? Yes, Colbert had something to say about what all this went on, though. Let's listen to alleged comedian Stephen Colbert.
Big news on Friday was that after being accused of crossing state lines, killing 2 people, and wounding another last year during a Black Lives Matter protest, Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on all counts. Okay. Yeah, okay, cards on the table. I'm not a legal expert, so I can't tell you whether or not Kyle Rittenhouse broke the law. But I can tell you this. If he didn't break the law, we should change the law.
Seal clap.
What laws do they want to change? Like, you can't defend yourself if somebody's beating over the head with a skateboard? Is that what laws exactly does this guy think he wants to change?
Well, you can't defend yourself if somebody's beating you over the head with a skateboard if you're a conservative or white.
Now notice, Colbert's not going to mention what laws he wants changed. He's got complaints with no action plan. There's nothing. He's got nothing.
Right. Yeah, he absolutely has nothing. That's an accurate statement off of this, but he can get that clapter from his audience.
And if Rittenhouse did break a law, he didn't. But the law that is the closest to him having broken is having a gun at 17. If he wants to have it so you have to be 25 to own a gun, then say it. Say that, because the killing in self-defense is not a law that anybody wants changed.
Well, they want to put the rider on there that you can't do it if you're conservative. They won't say it out loud, but they won't say it out loud, but I guarantee you that's what they have on their minds.
They will. One of them will mess up and they'll say the quiet part out loud eventually. I guarantee it. It always happens. Every time.
The quiet part out loud, that's actually a funny one off of this. And we went through a very extensive list, and I'm not going to do it now because we're up on the clock. But I had this one here from the Daily Wire that was just too good not to share. We would already be moving out of this topic and moving into the Arbery stuff if it wasn't for this one right here. God bless the Daily Wire. Liquor company asks consumers not to buy its Rittenhouse rye brand to celebrate Kyle Rittenhouse verdict.
Oh my gosh, these people are so dumb.
In an odd marketing move, whiskey and bourbon distiller and distributor Heaven Hill posted a statement to its official Twitter account Sunday asking people who are buying its Rittenhouse branded rye not to purchase the drink if they intend to use it to cheer the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, because people were actually going to the bars and saying, "Give me a Rittenhouse."
Absolutely. 3 shots and a chaser.
And we actually went through and looked at, and I said, these people don't want you to use their brand to celebrate. No, it doesn't matter what they're celebrating because it's none of their business what you're celebrating.
I will not use their brand for anything if that's how they feel.
I was going to get a
bottle. I was going to get a bottle of this for Mr. Zed, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. Fuck these people.
They've got a very expansive list of products that they do too. One of the notable ones, Hypnotic, is made by Heaven's Hill. Hypnotic Vodka. Evan McGregor Bourbon, which I have half a bottle of sitting on my shelf right now. Yeah. That's made by them. And by the way, I'm going to drink every fucking drop of that. Not because I want to support them, but because I already paid the money. So
it's already paid for. That's what gets me about when people were protesting Nike and stuff. They're taking brand new Nikes and throwing me. Dude, they already have your money. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm not going to take these. I'm not going to pour the thing down the drain because it was a $40 bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in a hurry to drink it, but I'm not going to pour it out either. But I mean, there was a long list of stuff, and I know there was one that Fanning looked at and said, he wanted to go and try a bottle because it was recommended to him, and now he doesn't because of this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna either.
I can get you the full list of their branding stuff if you want me to, because I know I tweeted it out.
There's this whiskey that Dave has right now that he really likes, but I don't think it's that. Mr. Zed, put in the chat which that whiskey that I got you that you liked. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know what the name of it is, but
we'll have to see if it's on the list.
All right. Let's go right into the Arbery case here. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to the Kaiser thing on air because we are up on the clock right now. Let's go ahead and do that. That one's going to be a quick hitter, I think.
You're going to have me back on then. You know that, right? I'm dying to. Can I just give you a brief synopsis?
Okay.
Okay, so Crystal Kaiser, this bitch, 17 years old, puts an ad in backpages.com, which I guess is some porno site or something like that. I don't know anything about it. I have a halo. Anyway, so she's a prostitute. She hooks up with this guy that she ends up killing several times. This man is basically her sugar daddy at this point. He's putting her up in hotels. She's buying her clothes. He's her sugar daddy. She goes to his house, shoots him in the back of his head while he's sleeping, robs him, leaves with all of his shit, comes back to his house, robs him again, and lights his house on fire. Now she's claiming that it was in self-defense. The man was sleeping. He was not sex trafficking her. He wasn't a pimp. The way that you read it on libertarian Twitter, this man was her pimp and was selling her to other men. No, he was her sugar daddy. She was 17 years old. And like I said earlier in the show, the age of consent in most places, other than the United States, is 17 or younger. So in Germany, it's 14, you know? So that's the brief TLDR. She's guilty as hell. She should not be out of jail on bail, and she definitely should not get out completely. She's not a victim. She's a murderer. All right, I'm done. You can go on to Arbery, but I needed to get that off my chest because people are killing me. Like, seriously, these people on Twitter, holy shit.
The thing that got me, and actually somebody did come with receipts on that, was he was about to get picked up for sex trafficking the day before, or the day after that all happened.
No.
So he wasn't innocent.
He was not for sex trafficking, for being a John. He was paying people to have sex with him. He wasn't sex trafficking people.
Well, we'll see what happens and where that goes. But like I said, the reason that I was unsure on that is because I know that Binger can make court documents look however that he wants them to do.
True.
And same with the rest of the Kenosha County DA's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I've read her statements. This is from her mouth. These are statements that she made after she was arrested. She took a selfies at her house with his dead body in the same house and posted them bragging about killing a white guy. Like, this is not a good person. We should not be cheering for this woman.
We'll see where it goes. Let's talk.
I'm coming back on your show when this case goes to trial, and we're taking a whole hour and talking about it.
It's not hard to do around here.
No, I talk a lot. Sorry.
Let's talk Arbery for just a second here. So,
all right.
Well, let's just start with the video.
Okay.
Murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. I'm going to ask that whoever just made an outburst be removed from the court, please.
So the person getting removed from the courtroom was Arbery's father.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that was Arbery's father that made the sound, and he got removed from the courtroom. Travis McMichael was found guilty on all counts. Travis McMichael's father, Gregory McMichael, was found guilty on all counts except for malice murder, so the top count. And William Roddy Jr. was found guilty on all counts except for malice murder, and there was another one that he wasn't found guilty on either.
I think one of the other murders he wasn't found guilty on. I forget which one, but I think that's a travesty because I really don't. I think that he should have had, like, all of these charges, the murder charges anyway. It doesn't matter if it was the malice murder or what was the other one, malice murder and whatever the other one was. it carries the same sentence. It doesn't matter which one they're convicted of. So all of these men are going to jail for the rest of their life. And I think that it shouldn't be the same punishment for Roddy Bryan than it is for Greg McMichael, who actually, or Travis McMichael, for Travis McMichael, who is actually the person who did the killing. I don't think it should be the same punishment for those two things. He videotaped, you know?
What was interesting about this case is, you know, they tried to make this out to be that they were going to get away with this because it was a mostly all-white jury, white judge, white lawyers, and everything else that went along with this. And of course, Ben Crump had to be there because he's Ben Crump, and he's got to come off with this. He's got to be everywhere when all this happened. Each man faced a total of 9 counts, 1 count malice murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 count each of false imprisonment and criminal attempt. Travis was found guilty on all counts. His father, Gregory, was found guilty on all charges except for the malice murder. He was convicted of 3 of the 4 counts of felony murder, 1 of the 2 counts of aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt to commit a felony. So that's the list.
Yeah. I just don't think it should be the same punishment for videotaping. He didn't know that they were going to kill him. It's not like he went out there and knew he was committing a crime with them, is all I'm saying. It's different if you're the getaway driver in a bank robbery. You know you're there to commit a crime. He was trying to stop a criminal who had been terrorizing his neighborhood for at least 6 months up to a year before this. They called the cops on him, I want to say like 17 times. On Arbery. They called the cops on Arbery. They have videotape of him going into this house several times. They have ring camera footage of him trying to get into a single mom's home while she was home with her kid, trying to break in. Like this man was terrorizing that neighborhood, and the cops could not stop him.
Well, one of the questions that's come up to this is it was, you know, you look at some of the, and I didn't get to see a lot of this trial because of the Rittenhouse thing and home field advantage going on with that for me, but a lot of the people were looking at some of the evidence of this and said it almost looked like when he was in that house that day, that he was kind of looking around saying, man, if I clean up my act, I could have something like this.
Bullshit. He was looking for copper pipes.
But he didn't have anything.
No, but he had stolen stuff in the past. There was evidence of him, I want to say, fishing equipment off of somebody's boat. There's a river right there behind that row of houses. And so there's docks. He had stolen stuff off of boats back there. He's stolen stuff out of the neighborhood previously. He was looking to see what was there. He was looking for tools maybe that he could pawn. He was looking for stuff to steal. I have no doubt about that. I don't think he should have been killed. I think 100% the McMichaels have rightfully been convicted of murder. Because they had no right to stop him. But to say he was an angel thinking, oh, I should clean up my act, that's bullshit. He wasn't jogging. He was a criminal, but he doesn't deserve to be murdered in the street because of it.
Well, that's really where this comes down from, too. It's the same thing with the Rittenhouse case where so many people come out, and one of the first things they bring up is, oh, well, Rosenbaum was a pedophile, and Grosskreutz beat up his grandma, and Hoover beat up his girlfriend, and all this kind of stuff. Well,
that's true. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, what matters is what happened right there in the midst of the incident right there. Yeah. Whether or not they were aggressive, who was aggressing at the time, and it's the same thing with the McMichael thing. Now, some of the other rumors that came out about this trial was that Travis knew Arbery before this, like they knew each other from school. So I mean, this could have been a long-standing feud on top of this as well.
There's no evidence of that. Just because they went to the same high school doesn't mean that they knew each other.
Right.
There's no evidence that they had any contact since high school. Even there's no evidence that they had contact in high school.
So I don't know, but I think you're correct on the fact that this was the right verdict off of this.
Except for Roddy Bryan, I'm satisfied with everything else.
One of the things that I did question about this, though, as to whether or not this was the right verdict that went along with this, was It did seem that towards the end of the trial, there was some militia action going on outside the trial. I want to read briefly from Fox News. Ahmaud Arbery case, black-armed militias gathered outside the courthouse issue warning. It looked like it was the new Black Panthers and BLM 757, which I don't know if that's different from other BLM, but they were gathered out front. They were armed, very well armed. We can see in the video that they have here, we've got the uniforms and the Black Panther flag, and this was all happening right outside the courthouse, just like it was with Rittenhouse.
I have no problem with this.
Yeah. Now, with the tight zoom on the camera, just like what they tried to do with the Rittenhouse case, it does look like they're trying to make it look like there were more people than there actually were.
No, there's like, what, 12 guys there?
Yeah, it's the same thing it was with the Rittenhouse thing when I was down there.
They're armed. They're open carrying, which is legal. Like, I have no problem with this at all. Zero.
Well, there were questions about jury intimidation with it. That's the big thing. But I don't know if in a courtroom like that, and especially in an East Coast state that's probably a little bit older than around here, if there is like a back entrance to the courtroom that they can shuttle the jury out to, because the jury wasn't sequestered there either.
I don't know the specifics. I do know, I paid more attention to Rittenhouse, and it's a shame that these were going on at the same time. Otherwise, I would have way more information on this case. As you know, I love watching these things. I love it. But I can't watch two trials at the same time. It's just impossible.
Right.
But I'm sure that they had a bus. They had a rendezvous point, and they all got on a bus, and the windows are blacked out. And I doubt this had any effect on the outcome at all.
And MSNBC was tailing them. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that was an independent contractor.
I completely support the what is it you say, the new Black Panthers. I support their right to protest. I support their right to be there. I support their right to be armed. The minute up into they infringe on somebody else's rights or break the law.
Yeah. So that's what we're seeing out of that. And this one dropped out of the news almost immediately after all this happened. Like, we're not seeing anything with protests. We're not seeing any celebratory protests out of this.
Okay. Craziest thing. I watched the verdict being read live, and then they showed the protesters outside, and immediately they were chanting. Like, okay, so we're in the trial. It's guilty, 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 guilty. Outside, camera goes outside. No justice, no peace. No justice. I'm like, what the fuck do you think just happened inside that courtroom? Like, they just said that they're guilty. They're going to jail the rest of their life. What are you still here? What are you chanting for? What's happening? It's crazy.
Well, one of the things too is, I mean, and I've mentioned this before, this is 2021. They don't drag BLM out in a non-election year. They never have.
No.
In the history of BLM, they never have.
These people wanted new sneakers, and if they're satisfied, there's no reason to loot. It's almost Christmas time. They have a list for their kids for Santa, and they need some shit. And if they're satisfied with the verdict, there's no reason to get the shit.
I might have to disavow that one too.
Oh, jeez.
Susan is watching.
She's not. I promise. You blame it on me. If anything happens, just blame it on me.
But yeah, it does definitely look like this is the kind of thing that went the way that it should have. And the leftoids were still trying to make this into a race thing and a racist thing. You know, oh, thank God the trial went the way that it did because it was all white jury, all white this and all white that. But this one didn't get the media attention that the Rittenhouse one did either.
No, and I also believe that's because it was happening at the same time. I really believe that if it wasn't at the same time, it would have had way more attention.
Yeah. All right. Let's grab a little bit of live chat here. Then we got to fly through these other two topics that we have here. I know we got to talk Omicron. We have to talk Omicron.
While you start the live chat, I'm going to take a little potty break. I will be right back.
Okay.
I have a very small bladder. I apologize. I know it's so cringe. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be back.
All right. Let's see. Leibt and Max had to take off. Highleaf says, why is the left heroes all bad guys? No gods, no masters, except for... I get the I disavow as well. You didn't, the last couple times you've been on here, you didn't get the disavow. So I don't buy that. Let's see. Mr. Zed said he was crying because he got caught. Yeah, I started using my middle name because the girl that tried to fucking kill me was trying to find me. There's a gnat in my house. But there's a group of carnivorous plants over there in the other room that's going to take care of that. No, I'm not going to tell the joke on air. Maybe we'll come back and we'll do a D-Live thing, D-Live exclusive, and then tell the joke. But we're not going to do that on YouTube. But Hoopy Star did get it. Yes, he did. Sewell says they're going to offer him a plea deal likely with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Hoopy Star says not the big bad app Telegram. Hiley says right. I mean, we never see the leftist news media call someone a terrorist for no reason. Chilaga says it was Gavin. Not sure it was Tim Pool. No, Tim Pool has bragged that he was one of the founding members of Vice. I didn't know about Gavin because I don't know that I've ever watched a single Gavin... not Gavin Newsom, McGinnis. I don't know that I've ever watched a single Gavin McGinnis video. I don't care for Gavin McGinnis. I've seen him on other people's shit. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that funny. I don't think that he's that accurate. Chilaga says, I remember watching Vice News 5 years ago. Carbonated Water for the Win says, fun fact, Rittenhouse and Thunberg were born on the same day of the exact same year. One is a freedom-loving individualist and the other one is a socialist Marxist. Which one has made the world a better place? Well, if you take a woman beater and a pedophile out of the world and severely cripple a grandma beater, don't buy our product. Bold strategy, Cotton. Thank you, Hoopy Star. We get woke, go broke, simple as that. Gamer Jam says employers should be required by law to post salaries and job applications for every single job. Period, no exceptions. It's ridiculous. We're still going through weeks of interviews only to find out what our salaries might be in the end. Transparency is key if no one's applying because the salary is too low to live off of, then you need to increase the salary if they can't. And they can, don't let them fool you. No, they usually can't because small businesses, like yeah, your corporate ones, they can talk about that, but your small businesses cannot afford to jump up like that. So, no. Then your company doesn't deserve to exist. Mr. Zed says it's Buffalo Trace.
Oh, yeah, that's the whiskey he likes.
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace.
Apparently there's a Buffalo Trace beard oil, too. I've never used a beard oil, but I probably should at some point.
It makes his beard nice and soft. I like it.
Highleaf had to go. Thank you, Highleaf. Carbonated Water for the Win says that verdict was completely wrong. It's clear in the video that it was self-defense. He rushed him, tried to grab his gun. It'll go to Court of Appeals as it should.
I'll tell you what, Carbonated. Can I have comments on this comment?
It's half your show.
Awesome. When we change the name, then it's half my show. So you're right, it was self-defense. However, they provoked the attack. So you can't claim self-defense if you provoke the attack. And the reason they provoked the attack is because under the law that was in place at the time, in order for them to be able to stop him for a citizen's arrest, they would have had to witness a felony taking place or have firsthand knowledge of a felony taking place. And on that particular day, a felony did not take place. And it would have to be immediately following, like him getting away from the felony. It can't be weeks later. And the reason being it can't be weeks later is because what if the crime had already been reported? He had already went to court, got out on his own recognizance or something like that. And then they have people stopping him in the streets. It can't happen that way. So because they didn't witness a felony, they had no reason to stop him, which is why it can't be self-defense, because they provoked the attack. They cornered him. They chased him and cornered him. That's why it's murder and not self-defense like Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah. Mr. Zed says, If you chase me down and corner me and I see you have a weapon, I'm going to charge at you because I have no choice but to believe you intend to take my life.
Absolutely. He's a smart guy.
Carbonated Water says he wasn't cornered. That truck was stopped a good 30 feet away. There were several meters around him at all times. Let's see. Seawall says actually under that statute they only needed reasonable suspicion or probable cause. Judge called the law wrong and made a reversible error.
I don't think so. Also, that law has since been repealed, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
But they have to have had witnessed it in order for them to stop it. It had to have been a felony that they witnessed in order for them to have stopped him after the crime had been committed while he was making his getaway.
All right. Let's do a little bit of Thanksgiving stuff here. Not a lot because we are up on the clock right now.
Thankful for your friendship, Ed.
Well, thank you.
Very thankful for your friendship.
Likewise. NBC News got into some hot water this week, though. On the Today Show, and I've actually got the video, they made a suggestion as to what to do to help offset the cost. So let's start by listening to that.
Experts are a little mixed on this, but you could ask everybody to just throw in cash, $5, $10. That really adds up. And while we are on the topic of something that could be controversial, perhaps forego the turkey. Bear with me. I know that is the staple of the Thanksgiving meal. However, some people think turkey is overrated, and so it tends to be the most expensive thing on the table. Maybe you do an Italian feast instead. And I will say this, if you tell everyone you're having a Thanksgiving without turkey, some guests may drop off the list, and that's a way to cut costs too.
A little turkey hot dogs, maybe.
I'm not recommending it, I'm just offering it. Keep the pie.
So that was NBC News' suggestion as to how to offset the rising inflation costs of Thanksgiving.
That's the most un-American shit I've heard in a long time.
Why don't you just ask your guests for cash?
That's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. First of all, turkey is not that expensive. Turkey is inexpensive compared to how much you get. Like, you could just get a turkey breast instead of the whole, like, you don't need a 20-pound bird. Like, you could just get a turkey breast, cut it into small slices, and what is Thanksgiving without turkey sandwiches the next day? Like, you have to get the big turkey. You have to have, it feeds you for a week. It's not just one meal. Like, does this lady think we're just eating one meal off of this? No, we still have turkey in our refrigerator. Actually, I think Mr. Zed ate it for dinner, the rest of it, just now because I didn't cook for him tonight because I'm doing this. But, you know, the Thanksgiving meal it feeds your family for a week.
That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely true. But they're trying to find some way to try to put a silver lining on this inflation, and it's not working.
How about you just cut the inflation instead of cutting the turkey?
Stop printing the goddamn money.
Yeah, how's that for a genius idea?
Get rid of the restrictions that are making it harder for people to live. Did you see that almost 250,000 Californians were out without power for Thanksgiving?
I did not see that, but tell me about it. I'm glad I'm not out there now.
So, reading from ABC, more than 200,000 Californians could be without power on Thanksgiving. It looks like there were high winds on that week for things. So it had nothing to do with like public policy, except for the fact that they don't know how to maintain an infrastructure.
They don't.
But it was because of high winds. 2 power companies in the Los Angeles area felt that they needed to cut power to some of their customers to help keep the high winds from sparking wildfires.
I know that you probably know this about me because we talk quite often. We've known each other for a while, but your audience may not know. But I travel to California quite often, at least once a year, if not a couple of times a year, for my work. My job is based out of Los Angeles, the Westwood area, actually, which is near Brentwood. But there's fires, there's shit going on out there. Every time I'm out there, the last time I was there, we didn't go in 2020 at all because of COVID, but in 2019 when I was there, there's a fire on the hill right behind the hotel we stay at every time we're there. Our hotel that we stay at is right near the Getty Museum, and that whole area was burnt to a crisp. It was scary. Like in the night sky, you can see it's just filled with smoke and the red light from the fire. They can't maintain their power lines for some reason. They're one of the richest economies in the world, not just the United States, in the world, and they can't maintain their utility lines. I don't know what they're spending the money on. They're not putting the homeless in homes because they're out on the street. They're not maintaining the roads. But what are they doing with it? It's lining people's pockets is what it's doing.
Yeah, that's part of the problem with California. And yes, you were right. It's the 7th largest economy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they spending their money on?
The politicians are rich.
Yes, that they are.
Politicians in California are amongst the richest in the country.
Well, app in the chat for the families that had to go through Thanksgiving outside without the power.
Wearing 3 masks.
Wearing 3 masks. Yes, it's California.
I have to go there in a couple of weeks, and I have a feeling they're going to be checking my papers. Papers, please, to go anywhere.
Papers, please. Yeah. Do you have you unvaccinated in the attic? A little bit of a white pill for you before we get off and do the Omicron side of this is Target kept their stores closed on Thanksgiving, and they're going to do this now for good.
Good for them. I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign, but good for them.
Well, I looked at this and I stopped shopping at Target because they made it a big deal that they're going to get 40% of their merchandise from Black-owned businesses.
I never really shopped at Target, but yeah, I would,
Well, it was initially my go-to after I quit shopping at Walmart because they got in the soapbox and said, we shall not sell 223 because it's assault rifle ammo. I said, okay, well, you don't need my money. And it's not, I've never bought ammo at Walmart.
You're not going to be able to shop anywhere if you keep this up.
The hard part for me is, like, I don't care if somebody has to go dig for their politics. That's why I can still justify eating at Chick-fil-A. But if I know what your politics are and you were the one that said it, I don't want to shop in your store. But, I mean, with Chick-fil-A, somebody actually dug to go find that. It wasn't like they got out there and said it. I think most people knew because they weren't open on Sunday, but
Chick-fil-A's politics are well known. Yeah. It's not a secret. They're not ashamed of being Christian.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because that's not a Christian then if you're ashamed of it. That they shout it from the rooftops, which I appreciate.
But as far as like I stopped shopping at Target, but they keep doing based stuff, and now I kind of want to go shop there again.
Yeah.
They had the other one where they were letting people open carry large rifles throughout the store. Like, that's fucking based.
They also let men into the ladies' room. So, can't win them all.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was a good thing. That was a good sign. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah.
Did you know the Omicron variant is here?
I did know. I'm terrified. Look, I'm shaking. Woo! Oh no, coronavirus.
Are you doing an Amy Klobuchar impression? Is that why you're shaking?
It's more like this.
That woman, every time she talks, is like a little chihuahua. She shakes. Yeah. I noticed it during the debates.
I have to say, though, the first time I was on your show, and really the first time I was on Steven's show, I think my voice was a little shaky just because I was nervous because I've never been an internet micro celebrity before. So I was a little bit nervous, but she's on TV all the time. She should be used to this by now. It's my second show with you, and I think I'm much better this time than I was last time. I'm not nervous at all.
Well, we got to talk just briefly about the Omicron variant here. Now, this is falling out of the news fairly quickly as well because they noticed really quickly that it was detrimental to the economy. It was shit for the economy. The Dow sold off 1,400 points in 2 days when they first announced the Omicron. And one of those days was only a half day.
Wow. Yeah, you pay closer attention to that sort of stuff than I do. The money stuff.
Yeah. But, they started selling off your Carnivals, your Boeing, well, not the Boeing, but all your airline stocks started getting sold. It does look like there are going to be travel bans starting today here, but just reading briefly here, there's a new COVID variant. It has supposedly 30 different mutations in its spike proteins. It is supposedly resistant to viruses. Now, the people in South Africa are coming out here, the scientists that discovered it are saying there's no need to panic. It is more transmissible, but the symptoms are milder with this variant.
So what's the problem? It's just like a flu. So we're talking about a flu is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like some people die of the flu, like this is just regular flu.
Well, that's what they say, but of course that's one of those things that can get shut down on YouTube if you spread disinformation. But yes,
I was asking. I wasn't spreading, I was asking.
The scientists that cataloged this did say it was milder. Now, there have been about 200 confirmed cases of the new Omicron variant reported in South Africa at this point, which is not an insignificant number. Travel has been shut down from
How many
Africa.
deaths? Did they say how many deaths?
None
okay,
listed.
So great. We're shutting shit down for no deaths.
There have been incoming flights for non-U.S. citizens from 8 African countries. Let me see if I can get the full list here.
I just found out that my sister had a trip planned with her and her family to Europe over Christmas for almost a year now, and I just got a text while we've been on air that that's been canceled. So I wonder if it has anything to do with this, or if it's something else.
That could be. It looks like they're restricting travel from South Africa, Malawi, Namibia, Mozambique. Those were the ones that were initially exempted from everything. I thought I had a list of all 8 of the countries, but there are 8, and they're all around South Africa. However, there have already been reported and confirmed cases in Hong Kong, Australia, which they have everything locked down. I don't know how the hell they have cases of this in Australia. They're an island.
Australia's about to explode. Those people aren't going to take this.
Yep. Israel, Belgium, and Canada.
So it's everywhere, every continent. Did we miss a continent? I think we have them all.
There's
South
anything in
America?
Brazil. Yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's not like this is going to be a big. Well, it's not like we're going to avoid it. When I first found out about it this morning, I said it's here.
There's nothing you can do to stop it, and it sounds like it's just a regular flu symptoms to me. And it's early on. We don't know yet. We might find out more information. We might change our minds. But from what I can tell, it sounds like the symptoms are just that of a regular flu. So what's there to worry about?
All right. I had an interesting one that I wanted to talk about with this. And, like the coronavirus news is getting fewer and farther between as we go. I've noticed that over the weeks. You had a little bit of a spike on the Omicron variant, but now we're back off of here. But Pat Burke had this tweet out here, which was kind of hilarious because of who Pat Burke is. So let's read what his suggestion is first. I'm introducing a bill that allows insurance providers to deny coverage for COVID-related treatment to those who refuse to be vaccinated. Do your part or pay your own way. Freedom isn't free.
Of course it's not free.
Well, I think this should be out there to begin with, but this is from a healthcare as a human right kind of guy. In fact, we can listen to him talk just a bit about this.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he is. So
he is a state rep from Buffalo, I believe, Buffalo, New York. Okay. I don't think he's a federal rep. I think he's a state rep. Oh shit, I have no volume.
On Twitter, I'm introducing a bill that allows insurance providers to deny coverage for COVID-related treatment to those who refuse to be vaccinated. This tweet has received hundreds of retweets and thousands of comments. So Assemblyman Burke is joining us now via Zoom tonight to talk about his proposal. Thank you for being with us. And why are you introducing this bill?
Good evening, Jackie. So there's many reasons, but obviously if we just go through the track record of what's happened and how this has affected all of our lives. So over the last 2 years, Hundreds of thousands of Americans, millions of people across the world, over $4 trillion in taxpayer dollars have been spent. And it's been tragic and terrible, and it continues to be tragic and terrible. And we go to the next step. We develop a vaccine that is safe and effective and can be used to stamp out COVID. And not enough people are utilizing that. It's free. That is free healthcare is the vaccine. It's provided by the government. It is safe and effective. If not enough people take advantage of that, it overwhelms our healthcare system, and it affects our insurance pools. It affects all of us, and we continue down this nightmare cycle until we get to the point where everyone is vaccinated. Because we also know that unvaccinated people are essentially incubators for COVID variants, and we're seeing it rage across the world, these different variants that are negatively affecting different countries and different communities, how the Delta variant has affected.
All right, I'm done listening to him.
This guy has the most punchable face I think I've seen in quite a while. Like, look at him.
No, I get it.
So he's not going to get, if you're unvaccinated, like, let's hypothetically say that neither of us are vaccinated. If we have a heart attack, we don't get treatment for that. Is that what he's saying? Or just no treatment for COVID related symptoms?
No, he says that if you don't get vaccinated, insurance companies can deny you coverage.
Fuck this guy. Punchable.
Well, our friends over at Defiant L's had this put out there. Whoever came up with this meme format, by the way, is a genius.
Yes, absolutely. I love this meme format.
How it started. How freaking tragic that a little girl has to sell lemonade to pay for her brain surgery. This isn't a feel-good story. It's a story of national shame. Every American should have the right to quality health care. How it's going. I'm introducing a bill that allows insurance providers to deny coverage for COVID-related treatments to those who refuse to be vaccinated. So I guess it is, I was incorrect. It is that they can deny coverage for COVID-related treatment.
It's still, what a piece of shit. Not to mention the fact that there are millions of people, I haven't done a poll, I don't know if that's a correct number, but that cannot get vaccinated for their own health related. I know people personally, you know people that you probably don't even know you know them, that cannot get vaccinated for health related reasons. And so we're not going to give this person, if they end up contracting COVID, they get no health care, they can't get the vaccine. Their medical provider said it's too dangerous for them to get the vaccine.
All right. Well, I got one last one before we do surprise stupidity for the night here. And the last thing we got to do is we got to listen to the patron saint of medicine, Saint Anthony of Fauci.
Okay.
This one.
It's been almost 2 years since a mysterious virus began circulating in Wuhan, China, and there are still far more questions than answers about where it came from and how we can better prepare for the next pandemic. For our broadcast Sunday, we talked with Dr. Anthony Fauci to get his thoughts on just some of those questions. Here's a preview.
Why aren't we having a national conversation about what went wrong? I mean, apart from this room right now, why isn't there a 9/11 type commission?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen
for one
is that
second?
you are going to.
Yep.
This woman's mouth, like I hate to do like ad hom attacks, but she's had so much Botox around her mouth that she's talking like this because she can't move her mouth. Like, listen to her talk. She can't move her lips anymore. Go ahead.
See that? For sure, Margaret. I think the lack of doing that now is because you're focusing on getting this thing under control. I would be astounded if we didn't have a very serious look at what went right, what went wrong, from a public health standpoint, from a local standpoint, from a global standpoint. I don't think that the public should imagine that this is going to go through with already 760,000 Americans dying and 40 plus million at least being infected, close to 6 million people globally dying, and we're not going to look back at this and tear it apart, examine it, do an autopsy on it, and try and figure out.
Dr. Anthony Fauci coming up Sunday on Face the Nation.
She can't move her mouth at all. It's just stuck like this. I don't even know what to say about this guy anymore. It's just a joke. He's a joke. I tried to watch that Disney Plus, was it documentary? I was actually, I tried to watch it. I was at our friend's house in Tennessee, and our friend and my husband had drank a lot the night before, so they were still asleep in the morning. So I got up early on my phone. I tried to watch the documentary, and I fell asleep on the sofa because I couldn't get through it. It's just, this guy is just so full of shit. I can't handle the bullshit. My bullshit meter is like way over here.
Well, and they've given him so much star power. I mean, what did he have? They had a children's book about him.
He had the AIDS crisis. He had what was the one with the mosquitoes?
West Nile?
That came from Africa. West Nile, he had that. But he was not a rock star at any of these things. He did not do anything spectacular with the AIDS crisis. He killed more people than I think would have died if he just didn't do anything at all with the AIDS crisis. So why are we making this guy into a rock star now? I don't understand it. Why does he still have a job? Why didn't Trump fire him?
Well, he said the right things and he stood up to evil Orange Man.
No, but Trump could have fired him.
He could have, and he probably should have.
Yeah, absolutely he should have.
But the hard part about that is that would have been a full-on partisan move if he had, or the mainstream media would have spun it into a partisan move.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. He didn't get. I mean, they were planning on the most free and fair election ever to have happened, and he wasn't going to be president again anyway. So it wouldn't have mattered anyway. He could have done whatever the heck he wanted there at the end.
He could have, but
hindsight is 2020.
I don't know. All right. As I close out this show, and I have for a long time, I have one last story of something so stupid that I thought, and hopefully it's going to be a surprise, but I've got something so stupid that we need to talk about it. We need to discuss what's going on here, and this one is cultural. And given the fact that you said repeal the 19th earlier, this was the perfect surprise stupidity for this segment.
Perfect.
From the Blaze, Women's March Group apologizes for their triggering use of the numbers 1492 in an email report. An anti-Trump political organization apologized for using the number 1492 in an email report without recognizing the historically traumatic effect of that number. The Women's March account apologized for the inclusion of the number in an email reporting what their average donations had been. Unfortunately, for those who received the email, that number is also the year that Christopher Columbus is believed to have landed in the New World.
Yeah, he sailed the ocean blue.
In 1492. The official account of the Women's March posted the apology on Tuesday. This is what they said.
Are you flipping kidding me?
We apologize deeply for the email that was sent today. 1492 was our average donation amount this week, the account tweeted. It was an oversight on our part not to make the connection to a year of colonization, conquest, and genocide for Indigenous people. Especially before Thanksgiving, they added.
This is making it worse. And making a statement about it after the fact is making it even... There's nothing wrong with it, first of all, but saying something about it is making it worse.
According to Mediaite, the email asked receivers to donate $14.92 with the email title $14.92. Critics of the organization immediately jumped on the apology to mock Women's March and their supporters. Emily Jashinsky says, keeping your email recipients in mind at this difficult time.
Oh my God.
And Dr. Peterson even got to get on this and said, this is perhaps the most hypocritical, virtue-signaling tweet I have ever seen. And that's really saying something.
Good. That's a very good impression. That's almost as good as your NPR voice. You guys need to keep that in your back pocket. That's good.
I don't read enough Peterson news articles anymore. Otherwise, I would use that one.
Yeah. Nobody would have noticed this if you didn't make a statement about it, you dumbasses. Wow. There's just so many levels of stupidity here. Stupid that, okay, so it's a year that some shit happened. So what's that stupid that we're even talking about it? And then the fact that they brought it up again is another layer of stupidity. Like, I don't understand why they're so mad at Christopher Columbus. Like, I've heard their side. The whole thing is just so dumb.
Well, the worst part of it is I don't do the same kind of racialism that my best friend Steven does. But when I read this for the first time, all that I wanted to do...
He's my best friend, not your best friend. So get that right. No, I'm kidding.
The first thing that I wanted to do as soon as I saw this was get on there and donate to the Women's March.
1492, for sure.
1488.
Oh, yes. Good idea.
Just see what they had to say about that.
If everyone got on there and donated 14... Now, I can't give them money. And principalities involved here. I cannot give them money.
Could you imagine if they had to go read that statement off, though, 1488 over and over again?
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. And I don't even do the Heil thing, but still, that would just put the tea right in the kettle.
For sure. Yes.
All right.
Oh, man, this has been fun.
What do these guys have to say over this?
Let's find out.
Mr. Zed got popped by the robot.
Was he caps locking it?
Yep. Let's get back up to here.
I always threaten to ban him from stuff.
Let's see. The new law requires you to be a witness, says Seawall. Seawall says turkey is overrated. Prime rib is the way to go. That's not a bad take. Except I live by myself.
Ribs. Barbecue ribs are the way to go.
I love prime rib. I live by myself, though, so there's nobody to share my prime rib with. And if I do go to my mom and dad's house, their oven does not do a good prime rib because it doesn't close all the way.
Hey, I heard you're somewhat of a chef. You fancy yourself a bit of a culinary genius?
I went to culinary school.
Okay, so when you come to my house, I just bought a new oven range, and it cooks anything you want. It's wonderful, and you're welcome to cook me prime rib when you're here.
Well, see what I can get from a farmer here.
I'll even buy the prime rib if you cook it.
Let's see. Reasonable suspicion includes merely running away from the area. That is a crime written or having knowledge of previous crimes. Is the same standard cops use in the Supreme Court define that term. I don't agree with that, however. I think if you're a citizen, you should have at least witnessed it, or it should be aggressed against you, one of the two, directly. McConnell Smuggles Coke here says, the viewers demand feet. I am barefoot right now, but nobody's going to see that.
No, McConnell. Is he still here?
He might be.
Steven posted a picture on his Instagram 2 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. And his foot is in the background of it. I almost reached out to you just to let you know, because you're always asking to see feet. But he's showing off a Christmas sweater, and you can see his foot in the photo. Barefoot, hairy knuckles and all.
Oof. Yeah, dumb shit me went to the gym today. Put everything in the gym bag ready to go, except for I didn't grab a new pair of socks.
No socks. Ugh. Yeah, it happens.
But I did wear a pair of tall boots today, so I could hide it at least.
There you go.
It didn't feel right, but I could at least hide it temporarily. And I don't live that far away from the gym, so.
Not too bad.
It looks like Spartan had an emoji out here, but I can't find it in the regular. Yep. Oh. Tendy Angry Apu. So he's got the Apu in here. Welcome in, Spartan. 80s Kid is here. The new Scariant for life is not just for Christmas. The media. Interesting.
I'm still here. I'm just sneezing.
Oh. Life to the Max is back. Oh, wait. That's not a real emoji. This is McConnell. Omicron! Zed got popped by the caps lock bot. Yeah, we had to put that in place because when we had the cousin fuckers in here, that's all they did was spam and caps, so I auto-modded that.
Just say cousin fuckers?
I did.
I missed that.
Yeah, you weren't here for the cousin fuckers. I had a group of Nazballs that raided my chat.
What's a Nazball?
Nazi Bolshevik.
Gotcha.
The racist ones, or like I said, the cousin fuckers. Marie says, internet redacted. McConnell says, whoa, what the fuck, barbecue? I'm the chosen one who wields the axe. McConnell says, I wonder if I can mute myself. Yeah, I can't auto-mod DLive, so that's the side of it. 80s Kid says, Gibraltar is 100% vaxxed, 40% boosted, and now they're locking down canceling Christmas due to a big rise in cases. Spartan says, no vaccine, no entry into any medical facility, save lives, hashtag let people die. 80s Kid says, safe and effective, haha. Marie says, Marie, maybe go Leibt is here, by the way, says, he sounds dumb. He does.
Hi, Marie.
Spartan says, Pat Puke Burke. McConnell says, no vaccines for you, no vaccines for hashtag me too. 80s Kid says, tell him to go look at Gibraltar and see if he feels the same. He's so lefty, he probably will. Apparently he reminds Marie of Domino's. I don't get that one, but... Life to the Max says, I only heard of Delta and Lambda. Did anyone else hear of the other ones between those and Omicron? There was a beta, but it was a beta disease. It fell out pretty quickly.
Beta!
Spartan says, insurance loves any reason not to pay. Marie says, and brain surgery is like 50-50, half a waste. That one speaker voodoo. I know someone who doesn't, who the doctor doesn't recommend the vax. She didn't want it anyway, but the doctor says no. She has cream cheese lips, says Marie.
Cream cheese lips? What does that mean?
I've never heard that before.
She's talking about the lady that was talking like this because she couldn't move her mouth.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. McConnell's got the Coomer up here. Or the Cruiser. He's the Cruiser now. Did I tell you that I cruised?
What does that mean?
I cruised.
I don't know what that means.
I cruised state lines.
Oh, bad. I was thinking about crossing state lines the other day, but I talked myself out of it.
I did. Where I grew up is close enough to Minnesota that it's half dozen in one, 6 in the other.
Yeah.
It's like 16 extra minutes to go down and go through Minnesota than it is to go all the way through Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's just like a maybe 40-mile stretch in Minnesota. But I cruised. I took the extra 16 minutes and I cruised.
Did you cross state lines with a gun?
No comment.
Oh, you had a boating accident. I forgot.
Yeah.
You lost all of them. Me too. It's terrible. All these boating accidents.
I cruised. McConnell says she has no eggs left for me. It wasn't me. 80s Kid says Fauci will keep pushing the vax every time someone gets jabbed. His bank account goes ka-ching. The good old days when I could downvote, says Life to the Max. Slapweasel's here. Welcome, Slapweasel. Okay, Katie Fed asked me to be here, so I'm here.
Oh, Slappy said that?
Yeah, that's Slappy, yep.
I was getting everybody that I know in every single live chat over this last weekend to come tonight. So hopefully they all came. That was in Christensen's stream last night. I asked him to come.
Yeah, he probably looked back through the stream and probably didn't appreciate that, but
whatever.
We talked about that off air.
It was on DLive, so I don't think he looks at the DLive chat. I think he looks at the YouTube chat.
Marie says, stone them. Life to the Max says, it's so tiresome. It used to be funny to call some stupid things racist, but now it's so overdone. Apparently there can only be one best friend. Marie says, should do a relay race to see who wins.
I don't think our best friend is even here tonight.
Yeah, what the fuck? He retweeted. I saw it.
His mom's in. It says his mom's in town. Last night his mom's in town, so he gets a pass. He gets a pass.
Slapweasel says women with power is almost always a mistake.
Agreed. I agree with that.
With au jus for the prime rib. Yeah, we got a little prime rib for New Year's when I was still with my ex-fiance the last time, and it was just the two of us, so we only got like a pound of it. But she's like, I want it medium. I'm like, I'm not going to cook a prime rib. I'm not going to cook a $45 piece of meat medium.
You could have prime rib this New Year's too if you really want. Just saying.
McConnell says he can cook chicken curry, which is better than ribs. Life that Max says, haha, good to know there's a cap spot. Sorry, Mr. Zed, it's my fault. Yeah, and YouTube and Twitch, there is a cap spot. I made prime rib the past 2 Christmases. McConnell says, time to find that foot for research purposes. Life to the Max says he should have wore socks. Internet is forever. Life to the Max dropped us a GIF. Let me see if I can find that in here. Nope, it just says the file name over in the YouTube chat. Maria says, looks like she's always saying cream cheese.
Cream cheese, cream cheese, cream cheese. Is it cream cheese or cream cheese?
It's cream cheese.
Cream cheese.
Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin. I know how this works.
I know how cheese works.
Life to the Max says state lines in the mocking tone. Oh, did C2K77 come? I haven't seen that name in here, but that person just followed me on DLive earlier today.
Yes, he's from that chat we were just talking about. He's a mod over there, and I asked him to come join.
Slapweasel says Matt doesn't care about DLive. Plus, the moderators we know are good people. Or know we are good people, rather.
They are good people.
Well, that's it. That's all that I have.
Well, that was fun. We should definitely do it again sometime.
That's possible. We could talk about that a little bit more here.
I'm usually available on Monday nights. Just give me like 48 hours notice and send me some links, and I'd be happy to jump in anytime you need me.
Awesome. Well, we are going to head
always
out
a good
of here.
time.
We are going to head out of here for the night. Thank you so much for once again coming in at the last minute, because, like I said, I thought that I was not going to have any time to do any of this today, and they told me on Wednesday that, oh, hey, you're off on Monday. You can go have a show. Well, they didn't know that, so they didn't tell me I could have a show, but yeah, we're here.
Knew.
We're ready. They knew.
They Googled you.
But this all turned out well, and thanks to everybody who came by and chatted with us in the live chat. I will be back here tomorrow morning, 7:15 a.m. Central Time for contemporary news and headlines, bright and early. So come back and join me at that Central Time, get in the live chat. I don't read live chat during the week, but I do keep everybody's name so I can say thank you at the end of the week. So do make sure if you're just lurking, you get at least one more message in. If you want to finish the conversation with my wonderful assistant co-host here, where can they find you?
You can find me over at Twitter, on the Twitters, at KT, the letter K, letter T, ma'am, M-A-A-M-Z. And I have 2 Instagrams because they like to cancel me sometimes. The first one is kt.z, and the more spicy one is meme with ma'am over there on Instagram.
I am on both of those too, so make sure you guys go and check that out over there.
The Instagram's pretty good.
It is. I will attest to that. And with that, we're going to head out of here. Thanks to everybody who caught up with us on the live stream. And if you can't catch us live, catch us back on YouTube and over on BitChute.com or over on the audio platforms. Or go check out turnsandpagesproductions.com. And as I always say on this program, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. Katie Zed, lead everybody out with some last words.
I hope all of you have a wonderful night, and I'm sure I'll see you all tomorrow at the Contemporary Chat. Bye, guys!
Take care.